CJ, how does cryptocurrency factor into the metaverse?
So let's first understand a little bit about the metaverse. Basically, have you ever played the game The Sims?
Sure, yes.
Basically, it's like The Sims, except everything has like real world value because it's an NFT.
So it's like Second Life that Dwight Schrute had on The Office, except it actually has a value in real life.
Yeah, so one example of a metaverse project right now is called Decentraland. You go in and play this game, just like Second Life, like you had said, and things have actual material value. So one thing that you can do is like visit an NFT museum where you have like these NFTs on the wall actually in the game. Also, presumably in the future, there will be metaverses that have like games incorporated into them. So like, in Fortnite, if a player has a very rare skin, like there's psychological value because it's like, oh, that player is an OG or they've been playing for a really long time. They're probably pretty good. That type of like in-game value will be implemented into like a metaverse so that it can be buyable and tradable among any players that want to. And it's not that like Epic Games or Fortnite owns that one single skin. So that's basically the general premise of how the metaverse could work and factor into some of our lives in the future.
Gotcha.
Also the concept of like digital homes. So if you were to imagine VR or like a digital home going with like augmented reality, you could have like art that is solely available in the metaverse. You can't get it in like a real life art museum or whatever. So you go to these augmented reality type places in a metaverse to view these different types of art. And so those are kind of the initial foreground of what has been developed, but you can imagine how a lot could change and develop over time, just the way that video games did when they started, in the early 90s to now the crazy stuff that we have today.
Got it.
Now, where it fits in with iRacing, maybe you could talk a little bit about like the simulation process, about how your racing kind of goes on, and because that might give me an idea of how it could factor into the metaverse later on.
So basically with iRacing, currently there's no, with how it works in terms of from a competition standpoint on there, is there's a ranking system, there's a safety system, and so you're able to excel and race with different types of race cars, different types of racetracks with different rules and settings, and really everything dependent on the level of your finishing results and your safety. And so I feel like I explained that decently enough, but that's kind of what it is like. An example would be, hey, I ran 5 races with this type of car. I had 0 to 1 incident or incident point per event, and I finished not only better than where I started, but I finished in a higher finishing position than where I was seated at. And so as a result of those 5 to 10 races, I would get promoted to the next class. And so that would continue up until you get to the A license, which is the second to top ranking on the sim. And to be able to get to the pro level where there's real life, compensation and rewards, that isn't, as simple. That's really a competition, more so than kind of the license system.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I guess you could, in the future, somebody could build or replicate kind of an iRacing type idea and then implement it in a metaverse where you can actually have like outside participation that doesn't really have any restrictions. So one example of like a metaverse NFT game is like racehorses, and the racehorses are NFTs. So you will bet on various ones to win the race, and then profits are distributed accordingly. You could theoretically have some type of system implemented into a metaverse where that same iRacing technology exists, except the payout structure is somewhat different, or perhaps more favorable to the actual racers as opposed to, iRacing or NASCAR, or if they were bad actors for whatever reason. You could do that and hypothetically build like a decentralized system that was more beneficial to the actual racers. We're like at least probably 10 years out from anything that advanced occurring, but you use your imagination, you start asking like, what if? And the possibilities start to, like, if you squint, you can like start to see, all right, maybe that would be a cool idea.